Hey everybody, welcome into our UPSL chat. This episode is Giuseppe Rossi, Jason Davis, Chris Korte with Giuseppe. Giuseppe, thank you very much for making the time, and
Welcome.
hope everything's going well.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
So yeah, Giuseppe, appreciate you joining us. Well, first off, tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, you grew up in New Jersey. You had quite the journey, Manchester United. You spent a lot of your time in Villarreal, and you ultimately ended up coming back home to the MLS, and now you're of course started your soccer academy and you're working with on the coaching side. So tell us a little bit about your journey up until this point.
Yeah, listen, it's been a crazy journey. It's been different from many journeys that we know. Started out here in America, in Jersey. My father loved the game of soccer, so I was always around the game of soccer. And we grew up watching Serie A every single Sunday. We got up at 9 o'clock in the morning. I was a big AC Milan fan, so we used to wear our shirts and cheer for our team. So at 12 years old, I had the opportunity to go to Italy because I got scouted while I was in Italy at a soccer camp. I got scouted by Parma. And that's when this whole journey started. Play my first game at 17 with Manchester United. Went on to play for Villarreal many years. Who else? Newcastle, Fiorentina. I came back to the MLS, and I played for Real Salt Lake City. I have my thoughts on the MLS if you want to get into it later. And then, I finished my career at Aspal in Serie B in Italy. And here I am now with my Giuseppe Rossi Academy. Basically, right now, it's all about private trainings, group trainings, implementing my methods of training and partnering up with other academies around the area, just trying to give back as much as I can. So much knowledge and so much experience from all these years playing at the highest level. And I just want to give back to the kids because I feel like it's needed. It's needed in this youth soccer landscape of today.
Yeah. So you've seen some of the best academies in the world, Manchester United being one of them.
Yeah.
You've obviously had your experience with the Italian national team and seeing how that setup is. What kind of motivated you to come back home and kind of work at this level again?
Just love the game, man. I just love the game. It's all I know. I mean, am I gonna go in my second life and start working on computers or start being a hedge fund guy? No, it's not me. I only know soccer. I only know kicking the ball. And listen, I've been playing professional for 20 years. And like you said, I play for the best coaches. I play with the best players in the best leagues. So, all that knowledge and all that experience, what is it if you can't, share it with people? And I'm targeting a lot the youth here in Jersey, just because they deserve more. They definitely deserve better. The way things are, what I've been witnessing, because I only retired last year, and it's been almost a year that I'm retired. What I've been witnessing is that these kids aren't the first thought when it comes to youth soccer, which is kind of crazy, right? You're talking about youth soccer. The youth should be the first thought. Unfortunately, it's turned into a money-making machine where people just take advantage of it, and that breaks my heart. That makes me angry more than anything, and it just kind of kills the game, that love and that passion for the game. Once players do get older, they start falling out of love with the game, and that hurts me because I want to see this game overtake football, overtake basketball. That could be a possibility just because of how global this sport is, right? But it's not in the right place, in my opinion, right now. The youth soccer part of America.
Yeah, I think we're going to get, Jason, a similar answer to Christian Fuchs and Del Piero the other week about their experiences and struggles with the U.S. soccer pyramid. Can you kind of tell us more about that, Giuseppe, about, your experience and what you see about the U.S. soccer pyramid and ultimately?
Oh yeah, I mean, can I jump in, Chris? Just because I want to build on that. Giuseppe, obviously you had an opportunity to go abroad at a young age, and maybe didn't see a lot of sort of the back end of the youth soccer experience in America. What did you see abroad? I mean, how do you compare them? What was different about leaving and going to Italy, going to United, compared to what a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid might see here?
Yeah, good question, man. It's two different worlds. It's two different worlds just because at 12 years old, I was playing with players in America that it was still a hobby. Like it was just something, you know what? I'm doing it because my mom and dad like it. I'm doing it because, I have a friend on the team and I'm just going through motions. And, it's just fun doing stuff. Yes, at 12 years old, you're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to enjoy it. But when I moved to Italy, it's a different mentality. It's my life, right? The kids were training as if there was no tomorrow, right? They took it as if it was like literally their life, as if they're striving to become professionals and doing anything possible to become one. And that's going hard every single training session. That's, watching games like 24/7. Like it's literally ingrained in their blood, right? The soccer culture. And that's not here. It's not like that here. And that's one of the struggles I found a lot when I did come play in the MLS, even at a high level, that the players playing, it was a hobby for them, soccer, so they didn't, go over, like do more to try and get better, to, sacrifice whatever it is that they had to sacrifice in order, to do the right things for your career. So, for me, it was it was it was literally life, and over here was hobby. So that's why there was a big disconnect when I came here to play in the MLS. That's why I didn't really enjoy my time too much. The coach, that's another thing we could talk about, the coaching in the youth system, right? But my coach, he was a high school coach, and he didn't really understand how to. He didn't understand how to like deal with certain pressures or deal with certain characters and stuff like that. So it just wasn't a great mix. So I'm seeing that same experiences that I had in the MLS with the youth right now. I don't have organized teams. I don't have to deal with parents. I don't have to deal with a lot of politics that come with this youth soccer yet. I'm still learning, and I'm sure many players, like you said, you've interviewed Male Del Piero, you've interviewed Fuchs. I'm sure that they have more experience than me. But the heart is in the wrong place. The heart is in the wrong place. And there always has to be the player first, the young kid first, and then whatever financial benefits that you want to have. That's the only way that you're able to build something and develop a young individual.
Yeah. And you see that on both the coaching side and the player side, lack of motivation, and then, lack of player first mentality on the coaching side. And then, of course, New Jersey has some of the most notorious soccer parents in the country, those soccer moms up there. So yes. a lot of it is out of the kids' hands. And so the kids probably as a result of that take it less seriously.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it all starts with the coaches. That's really what it is, because at a young age, right, you look up to the coaches and you're gonna feed off of their energy in training sessions, right? You're gonna if they say move right, you're moving right. If you say move left, you're gonna move left. You don't know better, right? So they're trying to teach you the game. They're trying to give you the proper way of going about yourself on the field. And if you have people that can't guide the young kids in the right direction, how to correct a mistake, maybe go more into detail to try and make these kids understand better how to do something, right? They can't. It's just it's a very superficial way of coaching. The way that I do my work, when I do with my kids, obviously, like I said, with my experience, with what I've seen, and with who I work with in my career, I learned so much, and I'm able to break down, right, layer after layer. You can't get it? Let's peel off another layer. You can't get it? Let's peel off another layer until you understand, right, why we're doing certain things, how to make it better, and then implement certain exercises to continue to get you to where you're supposed to be regarding whatever it is that you're trying to get better at, right? Here, I don't see that when it comes to youth training. I just see, many people read a book or many people watch a game and, they think that they could do it. They watch an interview from Guardiola or Klopp, right? And that's great, but it's not enough, right? It's not enough. And I think that's what's happening right now when we think about the development of players, where they're not getting the right coaching, they're not getting the right teacher to really teach them the game. And once you touch these academies where you're paying top dollar, $4,000 or $5,000 a year, you want to make sure that you have the right training. You want to make sure that you have the right people around your son or your daughter to develop, and that care about that, right? But it's always second, because obviously, like I said before, it's all about the financial part.
Let me ask you about the culture part, which I think feeds into the way that parents think about it and the way the system works, right? So you
Yes.
grew up in a football-obsessed family.
Yes.
Your dad's watching games. You're a Milan fan. You've got all the things that most American kids miss out on, or at least in the past. When you were coming up, certainly I'm older than you. When I was coming up, I had no connection to the pro game at all because it didn't exist in this country. I was just a kid running around kicking a ball with my parents saying, go, 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 whatever. Are we getting better with that? You think that maybe Jersey's different, because I do think the kind of people that live in Jersey may have more connections with the game, like your family. But do you think we're getting to a point where American kids are more immersed in the sport, and maybe even their parents understand it a little bit better than, say, mine did, who knew nothing?
100%, man. 100%. Just because you have the internet today, right? So you just go on this computer right here and you type in on YouTube, or you stream games left and right. The game is so much more accessible to the kids today. Like you said, right, Jason, like you couldn't watch any games. I only watch games at 9:00 on a Sunday because I had the Italian channel. I don't know how my dad got it, but we had an Italian channel, right? We're from Jersey, so we know how to get channels. So
We know how to get channels.
we even know how to get channels. So we watched at 9:00. We watched Milan, but that's the only thing we watched, right? But today you're able to watch everything, man. You're able to watch the whole Euro Cup now, the whole entire Copa America. You're able to watch the Champions League, whatnot. So everybody, these kids have access to it, and they're enjoying it, and they're watching more, and they understand more, and they're more knowledgeable, right? Like they understand, they're liking this game, which is beautiful. But it all goes back, right, to the system that these kids are put into. I don't really think it's not the kids' fault at all, right? Because you guys correct me if I'm wrong, because you guys know more than me. The youth soccer has the most kids playing sports than any other sport in America. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that?
Yeah. More registered youth soccer players than in any other sport in the country, or at least it
Definitely
was.
one of the first sports people go to.
There you go, right? So it's not the kids' fault. It's not the parents' fault, right? What is the system that these kids are put into, right? And that's the problem. That's the main problem.
Yeah.
So do you think that at this point, obviously training techniques, coaching, that's the entry point. You get the kids, but you're talking about trying to unpack a whole mechanism for even finding kids who might want to take it more seriously, right? Who are like you when you were 12, 13, and you were blessed to have connections to go to Italy, where a lot of kids who may be ready to go serious into the sport at that age, how do we know they're there? Who's finding them? It's a giant country with thousands upon thousands of youth clubs. I mean, I think you're right about the way that it's mostly focused on money, but we have to figure out a way to even find the talent, to find different ways to put money into the system so the kids can get the good instruction without their parents having to drop $5,000.
Listen, that is exactly what I'm trying to figure out in this time that I've had, because now I have so much time on my hands. And that's one of the main questions I say. All these underserved communities where, listen, there's a lot of talent, man. Like I think most of us are all sons or daughters of immigrants, right? And especially in my area, you have so many sons and daughters of immigrants, right? And what's the main sport in the whole entire world? Soccer, right? So there is some influence of soccer in everybody's family, correct? But how can these kids, right, find their way in order to feed that love for the game, that passion for the game? And if you don't splash $3,000, $4,000, then you're not going to get to compete with the good players. Now, just because you're paying $3,000-$4,000 and you're playing with these big academies, it doesn't mean that you're getting the right coaching, but you're at least competing with players who relatively care to try and get better and better. Because people think you go to these academies, they have that MLS next tag, and they play in these leagues that I'm going to put my son into it because he cares, blah, blah. So that's where all these kids are going to start competing. But, a kid who can't pay that $3,000-$4,000 a year, how can they feed that passion, that love for the game? And I guess it's rec ball. I guess it's travel ball, right? But it's not fair in a certain way, just because maybe he does have that talent to play and compete with the higher players. So how can we? I don't have the answer, but that is a great question to ask the people who created this system. How can we tap in to these communities that have so much talent? I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with New Jersey. Are you guys from New Jersey?
A bit,
No.
yeah.
Right,
Not
Newark.
from Jersey. Know a little bit about Jersey.
All right, Newark, New Jersey. It's got such a big population of like Portuguese, Brazilians. I mean, I just said Portuguese, Brazilians, right? Brazilians, and they're like the best players in the world, right? They create the best talent in the world. So, yeah, I haven't heard anybody that came out from Newark, New Jersey. Maybe somebody did. I'm sorry if you guys did, and I don't know, but I haven't heard nobody is, right? So I'm just trying to tell you that like there is so much talent around here. How can we tap into that, and how can we make them part of this system, and not just target a certain percentage of people that are willing to pay this tuition?
Yeah, I think this is. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you think you would have made it out in this system had you gone the whole MLS next and then college and all that stuff? How do you think that would have panned out for you?
That's interesting, bro. Nobody ever asked me that. You know what? Nobody asked me that. You know what? I had the drive and the love for the game. My pops was the same, so he was always pushing me. So I would have found a way either way. If I didn't go to Europe, I would have definitely found a way somewhere, somehow in this crazy system. 100%.
Yeah. This is more of a comment than anything else, but I do think it's interesting. I mean, I live in Northern Virginia. I'm 20 minutes outside of D.C., right? It's relatively the suburbs, but it's like living in Northern Jersey, right? You're the big metropolitan area, lots of different people. I live next to a school. There are days when that school is overrun by Latino soccer leagues, adult leagues. There's kids playing all the time. They got food trucks. They're making stuff. They're selling stuff. It's a festival, right? People who are out for the love of the game. There are other days when and I haven't double checked this, but I'm pretty sure most of them are East African, right? There's a whole separate group of people who go take over these fields who are East African instead of Latino. And, I'm just a white dude living in the neighborhood. I don't know these people, but I see them. We're not even connecting these things, right? We're not even connecting these communities. These communities are running sideways, parallel to each other.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how those kids are supposed to get, if they are really good, how they're supposed to get to the next level. Because are there clubs out watching them that are going to sign them up to get them into, and if they're playing in rec leagues, I'm not trying to judge most of these communities, but we're not talking about lots of money. I'm talking about people who work in 2 or 3 jobs so they can put their kids in a rec league.
Exactly.
So it's fascinating to me that how complicated it is in this country.
Oh man, listen, we just had this conversation, I think, all fair about, hey guys, tell me this pyramid of like how this professional soccer works here in America, right? MLS, USL, blah blah, right? And I feel like at a youth level, even at that stage, it's so complicated. I have my cousin. He used to play. He's 23 now, so he's done playing. But he went through this whole entire thing, and I'm like, hey, so how you doing in the league? I don't know. Okay, who's in your league? I have no idea. We just played Sunday 2 games. I'm like, wait, you play Sunday 2 games? Like you play 1 game Sunday. You prepared the week to play 1 game Sunday, right? So like even the kids are confused as hell. They don't even know what the hell they're doing, right? So why are these people making these kids like confused, right? Like why can't there just be a system in place where the kids understand their path, they understand where they have to go, right? How to, what to do in order to be who I want to be in this sport, right? Let's talk about, listen, We'll talk about after 15, 16 years old, where are these kids going? Where are they going? I feel like there's a beautiful system in place for football, basketball, right? You go to high school, you got your draft, you go to the NFL or the NBA, whatever it is. Beautiful. So the kids understand the path that they have to take in order to get to where they want to be. In soccer here in America, I don't see it. 15, 16 years old. Oh, I don't play for Red Bull. I don't play for NYCFC. I'm going to play high school ball. You can play high school ball, but high school ball is dead because the academies took over and nobody really, there's no level no more out at like high school ball, right?
And
They
you
do it.
see the same thing with college. It's kind of falling apart, college soccer.
There you go. College soccer is the same exact thing. You could go into the super draft. I think that's what it's called, right? The
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
draft. You
Yeah.
could go into the super draft and then hopefully get drafted. But you get drafted at 20, 21. You could have a decent career in the MLS. Yeah, that's great. But you're content to be there, right? You're just content to be instead of trying to, strive and like be the best and get out and play in Europe or whatnot. So like that's why like I feel like the system is a little bit off. How do you do it? Soccer is a different sport because it's a global sport. I told you at 17 I played my first game, right? And I was already a pro at 17. That is junior in high school, right? There's not going to be many people or parents here in America that are going to say, yeah, you know what? Think about your pro and don't go to high school. Rightfully so, because education is very important. But, in order to, do big things, you got to dream big, right? And sometimes I feel like here in America, we're scared to dream big. Not only the kid, but even maybe like the parents or whatnot, they're scared to dream big. And that's why maybe sometimes when it comes to taking that next step in the soccer world, you get kind of scared and therefore you just want to be content. And therefore, when you're content, development is done. You're just going to be like this your whole entire career. And that's how another way that we lose talent.
Yeah, and maybe that contentment and comes from the confusion of the soccer pyramid and not knowing how to navigate that, and just parents telling kids go have fun and let's see what happens because they themselves don't know what the next steps are.
Yeah,
Right?
because it's like it's a world where you don't really know what to expect, right? NFL, baseball, basketball, they know, they understand, right?
Exactly.
The parents like, hey, it's okay. Take that leap, right? Because you know where you're jumping into. 15, 16, 17-year-olds, they don't know where they're jumping into because it's a mess. It's a mosh pit. It's literally a mosh pit. In Italy, excuse me, in Europe, there is a certain step, right? You understand how to get to certain levels. So that's another way how we lose talent. That's another way how we don't develop talent enough here in America, and that's why the players right now in the national team, the successful ones, are the ones who left at a young age to go to Europe, the Pulisic's, the McKinneys, and whoever, and that are making a difference now in their teams. So yeah, man, a few problems we
Yeah.
got here.
I do want to get your thoughts on what we're working on here at the UPSL because I think it kind of helps provide some clarity for the pyramid. So for our league, semi-pro, no age restrictions, $25 to register, as low as $500 to get your team involved in one of our leagues.
That's
So the barriers to entry, we're trying to knock those down, get rid of those, and provide some clarity. And so what we have is kids of all ages, all ethnic backgrounds, from all over the world who don't have to pay so much money. And at 16, 17, you can jump into a league with 22, 23-year-olds and kind of push yourself. And so I do want to get your thought on that level that's maybe missing right now between youth soccer and the pro game in America. Because like we mentioned, it used to be college, and maybe that's not as clear of a path anymore. And also the fact that you're only playing, every fall. You're not even playing in the spring these days in college. So I want to get your thoughts on kind of that semi-pro level and kind of bridging that gap. And what do you think, the UPSL kind of plays a role in helping clarify all that?
No, definitely. I feel like it's such an important part of the system, right? And why do I say that? Because you get to that age of 17, 18, right? Where there's a lot of confusion and you yourself don't know where to go. The UPSL, right? The UPSL helps you continue to dream, right? For me, it's so important to dream, right? And to keep those dreams like alive. And during my career, I got injured many times at the highest peak of my career. Not only once, many. I have 8 surgeries on me, but I never wanted to give up because that dream always was alive, right? And that's what kept me going and pushing and pushing. So just because a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid is not able to break into a first team MLS or not able to go to Europe for whatever reason, or hey, there's a lot of things that happen in life, right? This UPSL gives them another opportunity, right, to continue to dream. And you never know what the hell could happen, man. You can never go. You just need that one game where you have a USL team coming down to a UPSL game, watching. Oh gosh, I like that player. I want to sign him, right? And now you're playing at a certain level, and you know you're continuing to believe in yourself because you're able to make it from UPSL to USL, and you just never know how things could work, right? So it teaches you a great life lesson if you're able to be part of the UPSL, right? And play. It's first off great because it's continuing to dream, but also it's a great life lesson to where if you're able to accomplish a little tiny thing, if it's even being a top scorer in the UPSL or even having a talk with the USL team or MLS team, right? It's just it's just fulfilling. So I feel like you're giving the dream back to these kids that still love the game, that care for the game, and that literally I feel like have that love for the game in their veins.
Yeah.
More than one path. I think that's the thing, right? You got to have more than one path.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think we're doing 2 important things here at the UPSL, which is low cost to start playing, right? So we can get these talented people from all these different backgrounds. But the second thing that's maybe missing from our U.S. soccer system is, and maybe that kind of helped you when you spoke about playing at 17, is that maybe a big thing that's needed is getting our top 17-year-olds playing against our 22, 23-year-old grown men in these semi-pro adult leagues and kind of testing these kids and really pushing them.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you're only as good as your environment, all right? So if you surround yourself with the right people, if you surround yourself with talented people, it's gonna make you want to get better. It's gonna make you not want to get pushed around or get beaten or whatever it is, right? It's gonna motivate you to continue to get better. If you're surrounded by, scrubs, then you're gonna be a scrub. It's just as simple as that. It's just simple as that, right? So having these young kids play with adults, having these young players play with people that are talented, that care about the game, right? That's just going to feed. That's just going to feed off of all the people around you, and therefore these younger players gaining that experience, that hardship, that tough love that is needed a lot, not only in the game of soccer but in life in general. It could only benefit them.
Amazing.
Yep.
Jason, you have anything you want to throw in?
No, Giuseppe, that was incredible stuff, man. Definitely, I'm glad that you're back in the States and you're adding your knowledge to whatever this mess is. Glad you're helping us do that, helping us make it better. I do appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, Giuseppe, thanks for joining us, man. And like I said, you're fighting a good fight. You're providing clarity, and people like you that come back to the States to give back and help out. It's very commendable. So I thank you for that, man.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.